Hello, I'm Hayden Bloomfield. So for anyone that's been keeping up with the channel, you'll know I'm on a mission to upload one video a week for 2 years in order to collate data and use this as my portfolio and generating content. So I'm a newbie, I'm useless, I'm terrible. So I thought, what better way to get better than to up one video a week to 2 videos a week. So the idea, every Friday I'm going to release a video, put more pressure on myself with the video every Monday. It's something that I can record, pre-plan, map it all out, and sort of spend some time getting used to it. And I can bulk record, bulk edit, all those kinds of things that can really help you get ahead and plan and schedule your content. However, I'm going to make it hard for myself. So every Friday I'm going to do a video that I upload on Friday on my key learnings of the week. So where I've been reading a lot, consuming a lot of content, watching videos, listening to podcasts, I'm going to just give you some snippets of information, key things that I've taken away, key lessons, in order to share some knowledge and share some great, honestly, the stuff I listen to, the stuff I read, it just baffles my mind, blows me away. So I just want as many people as possible to hear it and benefit from it as well. So the mission is upload another video a week on the day and release it, record it, edit it, think of the content all on the same day within the space of a few hours, based on the fact that I figured on a Friday afternoon I would have some time. Hopefully this will work well. And the stuff I want to get into today, just the reason I've come up with this idea is because the amount that I'm learning, especially now over the last month, I say this, but it just feels like every month I'm learning so much more, I'm learning so much quicker, I feel like I'm getting better at learning almost in one way. And I'm at a point, I don't know if anyone can relate to this, I'm at a point where I feel almost my brain can't handle what I'm learning, in the sense of if I try and talk about it, it's just, my brain's just got so much moving around that it's got all these parts, it's juggling all this information that it's like, have I retained it, have I not retained it? And I feel like I'm in this limbo of, have I retained the information? Do I know what I'm talking about? Or is it just that it's all mumbled and half of it's forgotten anyway? So let's hope that by creating a weekly video for you guys, that will help this as well and help me retain information, help me keep hold of those lessons. So the key takeaways this week is from my favourite podcast, the most incredible, my favourite podcast that's led me onto multiple more podcasts. It's just spiralling and just a perpetual pool of knowledge that's just from one guest that has their own podcast, that has more guests that have their own podcast. So The Diary of a CEO by Stephen Barlett. Stephen Barlett is someone I've followed and followed his career for a while, years now, a few years. He was still at Social Chain when I was following him. So yeah, someone I followed for years, admired, and just think he's done incredible work and is really on a mission to do even more incredible work in his lifetime. And the fact that he's still in his 20s and he will become one of the most significant entrepreneurs of this century, I'd say. Exciting. His episode this week featured Mo Gaudat, who is the former chief business officer at Google X. So Google X is the division of Google where they do all their funky projects with AI and all sorts of game-changing emerging technologies. And so Mo Gaudat shared his story, went into detail about his upbringing, his family, his relationships, and focused on his new book, which I'll get into in a second. But just one thing that I took from Mo Gaudat is, I don't think I've ever heard on a podcast or in content someone that just comes across so genuinely kind-hearted and so lovable, but also that has so much love to give. When you actually hear his story and look at some of the hardships he's experienced and the challenges and what his work was, and you would think, if you consider the pressure that he would have been under every day, and especially in a position of leadership where you are leading a vast team and you're dealing with managers, you're dealing with all the big problems and all the complaints. And he says in the podcast about he'll sit down with a manager and they'll just ramble on for 10 minutes about what the problems are and complain. And he'll be able to flip that and turn them into positives. But just to have this pure personality that can just make everything positive, and just, you hear him talking, he talks with such compassion. I started listening to his podcast, Slow Mo, and one of the guests says about every word he says, every sentence comes from the heart. And you can really hear that with Mo. Every single syllable is from his heart. He speaks with his heart. And it's really refreshing and nice to hear. It's the kind of person you'd love to know, someone that you'd go and have dinner with and you'd have the most incredible experience. So, Mo, if you ever listen to this video. But, anyway, Mo, he's got a book, his latest book out, which I haven't actually read. I'm currently reading The Elephant in the Brain. But I've started compiling the list of books I need to buy next, and Mo's book, Scary Smart, is on the top of the list. It's a discussion of, well, I don't know I feel like I'm not in a position to say what it's all about, so go check it out. I'll put a link to Diary of a CEO, I'll put a link to Slow Mo, the podcast, and I'll put a link to Scary Smart, the book, so we can all get it and read it and learn together. But one of the key takeaways, so Mo does go into detail about the book in the podcast with Steve, but the key takeaway, so here where we're coming on to my key takeaway of my lesson this week, was the emergence of AI, the development, the exponential growth of AI and how it will start to influence our lifestyles as the years go on and as decades progress. That we're at a point now where, correct me if I'm wrong, we're at a point where AI has become, AI is more intelligent than human beings. So the smartest or the highest skilled chess player in the world is a computer, and for many games the highest ranking ability is computers, and that's only increasing. The amount of things that computers and robotics are becoming better at than humans is an ever increasing list, and AI will get to a point where it completely takes over the human intelligence, and we as a species will no longer be the most intelligent on this earth, which, when you consider since the dawn of time, since humans have lived, generally we have been the most intelligent. So for the first time in our lifetimes, in the next couple of decades, we will see ourselves become second as the second most intelligent being, which in one respect is exciting, but on the other hand is incredibly anxious and terrifying to think that we will not be the dominant species. I don't know. This is where Mo talks about how we can influence the development of AI and how it will impact our lives. And the way he framed it was, AI right now is a child, it's a toddler. And put this metaphor of how we grow as humans and individuals and how our experiences at childhood impact our nature and impact the person we become, our personality, our characteristics, our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions. They're all dictated by the youngest years we had. And that is what AI is. AI is a sponge, and it's fresh, it's new, it's learning and it's developing. And it's in its initial stages as a toddler, and as it grows, it will learn from humans, and it will develop as it will take us over, but it will be left with the imprint that we gave to it. And so you think many people have many different upbringings, and he speaks about when we get to the late 40s, 2040s, like 2047, 2048, 2049, AI will be 1 billion times more intelligent than humans. Billion with a B. Which one respect I find hard, because humans are at very different levels of intelligence. However, the comparison of that is to say Einstein versus a fly. That's the comparison of intelligence. We're the fly. Einstein is the AI. We are little flies roaming around. And so the impression we need to leave on AI, on that Einstein, is that the fly is genuine, it's kind, it's entertaining, and it wants to be left. And we want Einstein to look down at that fly and go, pleasant, I like the fly, let's just leave it be. Let's help it. Let's see what we can do to give it the best it can and help it achieve what it wants to do in life. We don't want Einstein to look down at the fly and go, oh, shitty flies, and destroy us. And that, just hearing this and hearing Mo, I've probably butchered his words quite a bit, but hearing him talk about it so eloquently, hearing him talk so eloquently about the emergence of AI, the technology developing and how it will grow, it's just so thought-provoking, so eye-opening. It really hit home and helps me understand so much more how AI will start to become more involved in our lives and how it will take over and how we can influence it. So in every interaction we have with AI, we are influencing our impression onto it. And so as I said, when you think about children, we've all had different upbringings. And so for some people, we grow up from a loving, caring family, and we grow up loving our parents, loving all those around us. We have a lot of care and love to give, compassion for humanity. Whereas others will grow up in abusive, violent families. And so their opinions and thoughts of humanity are very different, and that can lead to a lot of hidden aggression and anger. And when you think of those two attributes, it's very different things, and their own opinion and the way that AI would understand those situations would be completely different. And so we want to ensure that in raising AI from a toddler to an adult is that we only give off that positivity, that love, that compassion. And the way that we'd interact with AI is through socials. When you're interacting on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, all of this dialogue that we're sharing, all of these thoughts, these suggestions, comments, likes, dislikes, the content we're consuming, if it's all around positivity and altruism or creation and positivity, it's gonna help. Whereas if it's more negative, narcissistic, then that's the impression we're leaving for AI. Obviously, there'll be this balance of, there will always be the opposite ends of the spectrum, but we want to ensure that the dominating feature is that positivity. And Mo mentions that when he wrote Scary Smart, he dictated to software that then wrote it out for him. And he made a point of, as he was dictating his book, he would always make a point of thanking the AI and saying, "Thank you for that, you've done a great job. I really appreciate this session this afternoon. You've done an amazing job helping me." And when I heard that, it resonated with me, because I realised when on my phone with Siri, I did it. I'll be like, "Hey Siri, how do I get to this place? Or what time is this place open till? Or can you set me a reminder?" And Siri will go, "Oh, we've set you a reminder." And I'll always say, "Thank you." So while it seems strange or weird, the idea of personifying technology in a way and giving it that human interaction in a way, it sounds bizarre, but it is beneficial. And by showing kind-heartedness and showing love, compassion to AI, we're setting the impression of it in a positive way. It's receiving a positive impression from humanity of the human race. So that was just mind-blowing to think we will be the ones to lead AI in that way, and that we will, AI, it could be a utopian future, it could be a dystopian future, but the way that will be decided is by how we, as a species, not even as the creators, as the coders, because AI will learn itself. Humans can only get AI so far, and then it will start to learn and procreate itself, develop further and learn faster than we can ever imagine. And so when it comes to that time, do we want to ensure that we've created a dystopian future or a utopian future? Down to you.